Welcome to a new episode of the Rebel Radio Podcast. This is Mark.
This is Matt.
This is Long.
Long.
And y'all I'm wearing a Mario hat.
His gangster Mario hat. It's awesome. But we're not doing Facebook Live today just because of some technical difficulties. So you guys get the show Monday morning instead, like normal, instead of Facebook Live. But that's okay. And how? Yeah. And how has y'all's weeks been, fellas?
Standard.
It's been a week. Standard, yeah.
Standard.
I'm with Long. Pretty standard.
So exciting. Oh, we're just riveting podcasts to start out this show. We're just so excited.
Oh, no.
It's like, I think some of it, too, is being in the industry that we're all three in. I don't know about you guys, but I'm starting to feel the burnout a little bit with the COVID and everything else. It's not so much the staying at home. That part doesn't really bother me. But just the stress and the pressure that comes with our jobs as the weeks go by. You know, I think that's what it is for me. Like, I feel like I really need a vacation. And I have one coming up in about 3 weeks. So, you know.
Yeah, I have one in about 2 weeks or so, personally.
Yeah.
Like a 4-day vacation.
Huh? What'd you say, Matt?
Used to be Comic Palooza week?
No, I'm not taking that week. I was only taking off just that Friday for Comic Palooza. I'm going not that week, but the next week, the first full week of June. Well, not even the first full week. Starts like May 30th. I'm starting that weekend and taking that week off. So I'm actually, we would have had Comic Palooza. I would have gone back to work for a week, then taken vacation. So I'm taking off that first week of June.
Well,
yeah. Look at all you bald motherfuckers.
Well, I'm bald. Let me just reiterate that in our age group, some of the symptoms that cropped up if you caught COVID-19. One, random strokes, which it was common in our age group if you had COVID-19. Second, accelerated heart rate, like your heart rate that's beating so like as quick as you were exercising, but you're at rest and your heart rate is accelerated. Third, an ICU doctor has said that he had to give blood transfusions to a patient even though he wasn't bleeding out of anything.
I saw that.
Yeah, you saw that post.
Yeah, and it was a post by a daughter of an ICU nurse. Yeah. And then fourth, lesions. Not lesions, but bruises at where your lymph nodes are. They'll appear around your skin because they're pumping out so many white blood cells, to combat the virus. And scarred up lung tissue because your white blood cells are actually attacking your lung tissues too to get rid of the virus. So,
yeah, that's definitely scary shit that's going on. But that's why, we continue to podcast and try to bring some entertainment to the world.
Just illustrating to be careful.
The best we can.
Yeah.
So a lot of fucking people are going out now because things are opening back up, and unfortunately, I feel that could make things worse again. Stay at home, people, if you don't need to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As of today, 77,000 deaths in the U.S. so far.
No, it's like, there's nothing that's so important that a lot of people go out because they feel the need to be waited on, or they feel the need to self-indulge or whatever. And you don't have to do that right now. There's other ways you can self-indulge and do things. You can buy things online. You can find entertainment in a self-at-home project at home or something, But you don't need to go places. Don't go anywhere. That's all it is to it, really. That's why we're podcasting online instead of in person. Even though we hope to possibly get together in person for our 200th episode, and we'll see how it goes. Over the next couple of weeks. So, and since this is episode 197, officially the countdown to 200 has begun. We started this thing almost 6 years ago. Never would have thought we would have got this far, but we have, and we're almost to 200. Knock on wood. It'd be like if the whole world just crashes way down 200, I'd be like, man, we never made it to 200. That would suck. Yeah. But we're gonna get there.
I just noticed that Matt's wearing a Darth Vader shirt, and I'm wearing a Sith Empire shirt from Knights of the Old Republic MMO.
I just have a plain gray. I just have a plain gray shirt on.
Come on, Mark! You just broke the thing.
Boring.
I know.
You can make up for it by showing us your vintage reissues.
Maybe I have Star Wars underwear on. You don't know. I mean, it's possible.
We'll take your word for it.
I would bet that you sithed your pants.
Wow, that's a terrible joke. Dad jokes on the podcast. That's where we're at after 197 episodes. Dad jokes on the podcast.
Yep. Star Wars dad jokes.
Yes, bad ones. And then me and Long give you the same look that our kids give us when we tell dad jokes. Like, no, Dad, don't do that. So,
yeah,
that's okay. I cannot believe you just said sit your pants, but no, I can't believe it. You are Matt. So.
Yes, nothing is beneath me.
You know, man, like we're for people who can't see us. Obviously, we're talking to each other on webcams and over the internet, and Matt has chosen to shave his head recently, as you might have seen on last week's Facebook Live. And I'm still I look at you, and it's still weirding me out. I don't know why, man. I'm just like I'm not used to it. You know, it's like it's just.
Is it because I look like Johnny Sins?
No.
You look like Pitbull.
You kind of look like those Creep Boys. Remember a few weeks ago we covered.
I'll take Pitbull.
Remember we covered Beneath the Planet of the Apes a few weeks ago? You kind of look like those mutant humans from the end of Beneath the Planet of the Apes a little bit.
I'm going to rip my face off.
Yeah,
I'm going to be horribly disfigured.
Yeah.
Matt, you look like Mr. Worldwide.
Mr. Worldwide.
Mr. Clean. I don't know.
I love that meme when it was hot for a bit.
I may have to be Mr. Clean for Halloween. Now I'll have sanitizer in my little squirt bottle.
My favorite Mr. Worldwide meme is when you could speak in Australian, Britain, Canadian, and American. You Mr. Worldwide. It's English, you know. So
yes.
Like when you understand Australian, England, you know, like yeah.
Hello.
Mr. Worldwide.
Yeah.
I will not be joining the Head Shave Club anytime soon. I can tell you that. Even though I always wear a hat, it's not like I show off my hair. I still don't want to shave.
Waste of hair, Mark. Waste of hair. You got the lifetime guarantee. You might as well flaunt it.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to stick to it as long as I can.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, so let's get into today's show officially. You know, we always start the show with a download this, where we tell people what we streamed, watched, played lately. And Long, you weren't on last week's episode, man. So go first. What have you checked out the last couple weeks in your quarantine when you're not at work?
I checked out the first 3 episodes of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Pretty cool. It's an interesting story, but apparently JoJo's Bizarre Adventure has 6 parts, or 6 major parts, and it stars a different JoJo in each generation. And I don't know. It's the great thing about the show is that the manga is still going, but it's just covering like the first 20 some odd years of its manga's existence. So there's no filler to speak of, so which is cool, because it let the manga run its course, and then they started animating all the major story arcs. What else? I started reading a light novel that if people don't know what a light novel is, it's basically Japanese short novels that are like about 200 pages or so, nothing bigger than that. And there's a website called bookwalker.com that officially translates all of these novels to English. And I'm currently reading a book called Her Majesty's Swarm, and it's about a a girl who is in this fantasy world, and she can control like a swarm of insect army, like large swarm of kind of like the Zerg from StarCraft.
Oh
if you've
yeah,
ever played StarCraft. Yeah, so basically she can control.
Evolution.
Yeah, she can basically control the Zerg like army in this fantasy world, and she's evil. It's just
That's
from her
cool.
perspective, and it's just watching her conquering this fantasy world one nation at a time. So it's pretty cool. I'm on the second volume so far, and it's a pretty new series. And then I'm also replaying Persona 5 Royal, and that's a fun RPG on the
I've heard those are good
5.
games.
Yeah, it's very good. Yeah, the definitely one of the catchiest soundtracks, because you're playing this RPG and it's like so catchy. The music's very very cool. It's just worth it just to even play with the music on the background too. It is highly stylized menu system and all that. So very impressive. Yeah, I've been busy. So
Yeah.
What was your go-to team whenever you did Star Trek? Was it Terran, Protoss, or Zerg?
I always gravitated towards the Zerg. There's always it's always fun to create an entire swarm of minor Zerglings and then making them rush the map. That's always it's always satisfying to do a Zerg rush. Where you cover the map with nothing but little Zerglings.
I like that. I always felt people that picked the Protoss just wanted it easy because I felt like they had like the best weapons. So I picked Terran all the time. I like Terran Marines and the Ghosts and that kind of stuff. That's a game that I would probably still enjoy if I popped it on the laptop and started playing it again. Even even with the graphics way back. But I know they redid StarCraft, so maybe I'll have to look into the re-release of StarCraft and see how that looks.
Yeah, but that's my download this. What about you, Matt? What have you done or checked out?
The kids wanted to do theater at home, so I rented Trolls World Tour. It's interesting. Ozzy Osbourne's in it. But it's different. I mean, they saw the first Trolls.
It's no Pixar. That's what you're saying.
It's no Pixar. Yeah. It's okay, but it's not Pixar. It's not Disney. But it was entertaining, and I felt like it was still saving money because $20, 3 kids, 2 adults, and you just get to sit home and.
Does it sometimes feel like DreamWorks? They had Shrek and they had the How to Train Your Dragon. Does it feel like they tried to make too many franchises too quickly? Like every single movie they've done animation-wise has a sequel, has a series on Netflix. It just feels like maybe that they grew too fast their animation studio in some ways, and the quality suffered because of it.
Maybe so. I always feel like they can't come up with good sequels to their sequels. Like their follow-up movies usually okay. I actually liked Shrek's follow-up sequel. I was like the best cover of We Need a Hero.
Yeah. But
Kung Fu Panda was pretty good, I thought.
Kung Fu Panda was
Kung
good.
Fu Panda was good.
Captain Underpants was good.
Yeah.
They've had some gems in there.
Maybe they should roll with Captain Underpants.
Boss Baby was stupid. Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of liked Boss Baby. It grew on me. Maybe it's because the kids kept playing it over and over and over again.
Boss Baby was DreamWorks?
Yeah.
It was? Oh.
Is
I was like...
DreamWorks?
Minions? No, that was Fox. Fox
That's
Animation.
Fox Illumination.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Illumination.
Yeah, I don't think the quality of storytelling isn't... It's not as good as the current crop of DreamWorks. Like, because I can name you Shrek is good, Kung Fu Panda, How to Train Your Dragon, and really, those are the 3 major DreamWorks franchises that stood out.
Yeah.
Am I missing something else? Or DreamWorks?
Madagascar.
Yeah, Madagascar. Yeah.
The first one was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the earlier stuff was better than the newer DreamWorks stuff.
Yeah, the current.
But anyway, just a little tangent there, Matt. Go ahead. What else did you check out this week?
I watched
Long's Facebook feed.
Long's Facebook feed. Yeah, the drama that you
drama that I baited.
yeah, you did. You got him. And then I watched Turtles 2, Secret of the Ooze. That's my favorite Ninja Turtle movie. I know it's cheesy,
really,
but I mean, Kano. You got Super Shredder, Kevin Nash, the Super Shredder. You got Vanilla Ice doing the ninja rap.
I mean, it's fun, but I don't think I can say it's better than the original. Ugh.
No, it's a fun movie.
No, it's its own thing.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then what else? Oh, I watched another episode of Firefly, and I watched the first season of a show that my wife started getting me to watch, and it's 13 Reasons Why, and it's about it's a little dark. It's about a girl who kills herself because of bullying, and she leaves behind a bunch of tapes, and it's like a mystery.
I'm sorry you're having to watch that.
What was it again?
It's a teenage girl show. Basically, that's what it is.
It is. It's a teenage
what show?
Mystery. 13 Reasons Why.
Oh.
I'm sorry you're having to watch that.
Yeah.
I don't know. When I was growing up as a teenager or a little kid, I always liked watching Degrassi Middle School or whatever.
But you were a teenager. That's the difference.
Oh, yeah.
That's the difference.
Man, you knew I was going to dog you for having it.
Oh, yeah.
I can't believe you'd bring that up on the show. You know I'm going to fuck with you. Blame it on Jackie, sure.
Blame it on Jackie. But, man, that's, I guess, about it. Oh, and Finding Nemo. Kids wanted to watch Finding Nemo. Watch Finding Nemo. But that's about it. Everything else, yeah, just
I didn't like Finding Dory as much as Finding Nemo.
Me neither.
Dory was okay.
Yeah. I watched a couple things. I watched Birds of Prey, finally.
Yeah.
I wasn't as high on as everyone else. I thought it was pretty weak overall. I thought Ewan McGregor did a good job and Margot Robbie did a good job. Everyone else felt like fill-ins. Even the Birds of Prey themselves just sort of felt like they were just there. I'm not sure what they did to drive the story because it was very much a Harley Quinn movie. You know, you wasted a really good actress like Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who's hardly in the damn thing.
Well, no, I thought she was pretty good in that movie.
You know, she's always good, but I didn't like the actress they used for Cassandra Cain. I thought she came across whiny.
She was
and
terrible. She was wooden. She couldn't act.
It just felt like it felt like they were trying to make it a teenage girls sleepover movie, kind of a Deadpool light wannabe with girls, kind of in the sense that it's meta and aware of itself. You know,
I thought the action scenes were good.
They were all right, but I guess since I had just watched Extraction, then I watched that. I felt like they were okay. You know,
I think you should give. It's called Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey now, not just Birds of Prey.
Oh, I know.
So,
but it could have been a lot better. Margot Robbie's excellent. She's made for that role. She's really good. Just wasn't as high on as everyone else was. Thought it was okay. Didn't think it was anything that great.
I think you should watch it another time because I rewatched it recently and I thought the police station scene was pretty good on second viewing.
Yeah, that was probably the best scene in the movie.
Yeah.
And I felt that the action at the end, like in the abandoned park, was well shot because they didn't do very many shortcut. It was wide angle, you know.
Yeah.
I can definitely see where the John Wick action direction was in. So I'm just glad that they didn't cheat.
Yeah.
No shaky
I liked
cam.
I liked it better than Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
You know, don't get me wrong, but I guess I don't know. I just maybe wanted more from it, and you know, it wasn't terrible. But I watched that, and I watched I watched the new Mortal Kombat Scorpion's Revenge animation, which is really good. It's very brutal, but it's really well done. Actually, it's a cool story, kind of an origin, how Mortal Kombat begins and how he becomes Scorpion. You know, you get some little appearances from all the different Mortal Kombat characters throughout it. Ultra violent. Animation style is very similar to a lot of the DC animated stuff because, you know, it's Warner Brothers, so I'm sure they use some of the same studios. But good stuff. It actually, I hope it does well because I started watching it thinking, like, I wouldn't mind like a whole series of these movies, kind of like they did with DC. I wouldn't mind watching more Mortal Kombat movies. I think I think that game works well in animation, as a lot of video games do. You know, they keep wanting to make these live action stuff, and they are doing a live action Mortal Kombat movie, but sometimes I think maybe that stuff plays itself better to animation. And so I thought it was really good, and I enjoyed it. And then besides that, I downloaded. Well, I went ahead and purchased the remastered Ghostbusters because it's on sale on the PlayStation Network this week for like $12. And with my middle son loving Ghostbusters, I bought it, and I played it, you know, some on the Xbox 360, but I've been playing that, and it's pretty fun. Not that I need another game, as I'm backlogged on games like crazy, but you know, for that price, it was like, okay, I'll buy it because, you know, my Wyatt will enjoy playing it, and he kind of took the controller from me and kind of took over and started playing it. I'm like, okay, well, there you go. Yeah, but that's what kids do. But yeah, I think that's all I really watched was really the Mortal Kombat and Birds of Prey this week. And, and then I did, Matt, you watched it too, the final 4 episodes of Star Wars: The Clone Wars.
That's right.
Which, you know, Long has not seen yet, but man, those last 4 episodes will make you view the prequels in a different light, especially episode 3. It does something storytelling wise that makes episode 3, The Revenge of the Sith, seem that much more important and almost like a ticking time bomb, if that makes sense. So Matt probably understands it since he watched it. And brilliantly done by Dave Filoni and crew. The last 3 minutes of the final episode are breathtaking and maybe one of the best endings to any Star Wars ever. Emotional too. Very well done show. So props off to the makers of the Clone Wars. They ended it very nicely. Very cool ending to the show and very well done. So watch that if you haven't. You know, it's good. And then I watched the first episode of Disney Gallery, The Making of the Mandalorian. So that was kind of interesting. You know, they go kind of behind the scenes. The first episode kind of introduces all the directors from the season and a little bit. And but it's good stuff. It's good to see that Disney is trying to put out more stuff to fill in until we get the Marvel shows and Mandalorian season 2 and things like that. So, and we've got Mandalorian news coming up later in the show. I don't want to hit that right now, so we'll hit that later. But yeah. You like the end of Clone Wars too, huh, Matt?
I did. It was, like you said, it tied everything together. And don't want to spoil it for anybody, but like you said, it does tie everything around. And it does kind of like make you anticipate it again. It feels like you get excited for episode 3 a little bit, and you can just like picture what's going on while these episodes are going on in the movie. So that's really cool.
Yeah, definitely for sure. So
did you catch Kanan's cameo, Mark?
He's in the Clone Wars show?
Yeah.
I must have missed that one. I did catch the cameo of Dryden Voss from the Solo movie. That one I caught, and I caught.
Kanan.
They're not confirming that they're not confirming that it's Prince Caesar from the old Shadows of the Empire, but it sure looks like him in one scene. That Darth Maul's talking to. It's definitely Dryden Voss from the Solo movie. He's in there. But no, I didn't know Kanan was in there.
Yeah, he's in there as a young Padawan. He's walking next to his Jedi Master. So. Oh,
okay.
Yeah. He's in there as a kid.
Yeah. Which would make sense because Rebels is about 15 years after Revenge of the Sith. So yeah, makes sense. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, Matt, go
stuff,
watch.
Man.
Start watching Rebels now that you're done with Clone Wars.
I've seen Rebels.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you've never seen it before, so.
The coolest part is like now it's like, you know, people may go back and see that Ahsoka Darth Vader you know, that matchup, and that probably makes that encounter even more enticing. Whenever his face mask is broken, and
I absolutely when I was watching the finals of Clone Wars, that's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, not only does it make Revenge of the Sith more important, it makes things that happen in Rebels more important now. And no, you're right. I'm telling you, these last 4 episodes of Clone Wars, and really long. If you get a chance, you don't have to have seen all of Clone Wars to watch them. You really can pick up on what's going on. It just gives you a different light for the rest of Star Wars, and so it's good stuff. Definitely worth watching. So,
I'll be sure to check it out when I resub.
Yeah, for sure, man. You'll dig it. So that's it, man. Let's get into today's feature film then. A gritty 1971 cop film, which gave people a different look at Clint Eastwood after coming off all the westerns he had done. He wanted to do something different, so he wanted to take on this role, and he takes on the role of Dirty Harry in Dirty Harry, a movie that we've been talking about doing a long time, Matt. No, it's a favorite of yours, and you're a big Dirty Harry fan, and so we finally got around to doing Dirty Harry before we hit episode 200. Yes. And so Matt, since you're a big fan of this movie, go ahead and summarize it, man.
So this movie starts out with
that's a summary, not the whole plot.
Yeah. So Dirty Harry, Harry Callahan, he's a San Francisco cop, and he's kind of a lawful right. I'm going to do things my way, and that's how I'm going to interpret the law. I'm going to use my justice on people. And there is a villain that emerges, and he is Scorpio, and is basically a rehash of the Zodiac Killer. This is what they used for inspiration for Scorpio. And
was it kind of a mix? Was it kind of a mix of Son of Sam and the Zodiac in a way, or Son of Sam hadn't happened yet?
The main one was the Zodiac Killer because he liked taunting cops. And so this was, he taunts the cops the whole time. And when Harry finds him, he beats the snot out of him, and he uses a rash jest, I statement, and just confesses. But before that law even goes into effect, he isn't read his Miranda rights, and so he gets off clean. And Harry follows him around, and guy's pretty sick. He pays someone to beat him up, so that they force Harry to not follow him anymore. And then he hijacks a bus where Harry, ensues. He jumps on the top of the bus, and he runs to a pond area to get away from Harry. But lo and behold, Harry finds him, and he's got one more bullet left in him, but he doesn't know. And he asks him if he feels lucky, and the Scorpio killer feels lucky. He grabs his gun, tries to shoot Harry, it doesn't work, and he gets blown into the water. But got the iconic .44 Magnum handgun that was made extremely popular by this movie. It wasn't very popular until this movie came out, and then you couldn't find it anywhere. And now it's worth all kinds of money. It's not quite worth as much as the Colt Python because they stopped making that. They still make this gun, so you can buy it brand new for $1,100, which is no cheap feat. But it's made brand new with all the fixings of a modern revolver. But it's very impractical. In fact, in Magnum
Are we talking
Force,
about the movie, or are we talking about the gun?
In Magnum Force, he confesses that he actually doesn't shoot .44 Magnum. So that long, .44 Magnum, he actually shoots .44 Special. But that way I tie it a little bit to it. You don't want to go too much on a tangent. But a lot of cool things about this film. Like you said, they could have had Steve McQueen in this film. In fact, they wanted Steve McQueen. They wanted Frank Sinatra. Frank Sinatra's wrist got broken, and so this allowed Clint Eastwood to jump into this role.
McQueen didn't want to do another cop movie after just doing Bullet.
Yep. And and no police chase in this one. I think that was sudden impact. So I mean, no one chases the bus under the Zodiac Killer's command, or else he'll kill kids. Scorpio Killer. Yeah.
Well, this definitely is a very famous, one of Eastwood's more famous films besides his westerns, and a film that kind of brought him to a different mainstream that people that didn't watch westerns and stuff. This is a pretty gritty film for 1971 too. It's pretty violent. There's some nudity in it. It's a different type of cop that you're used to seeing in today's films. I mean,
young Suzanne Summers.
Harry says what he wants, and he isn't afraid to kind of not necessarily be lawless, but push the boundaries of the law to do what he needs to do. Obviously, this is a very quotable movie. In fact, the most famous line for the movie is often misquoted almost all the time. No one ever says it right. Yeah. Eastwood delivers some great lines in this movie throughout it. I love the one at the beginning of the movie when, if a man's running through the park with a heart on, I don't think he's collected for the Red Cross. Like, how do you assume that he's going to rape the girl? It's like he just...
And then the district attorney agrees with him. He's like, I see his point.
Right. And Eastwood has always been great at doing that in all of his movies. Even his films today, when he's older, he just delivers these lines with this natural ability that comes across and demands a presence that you listen to him and you buy the line that he says. And I think Clint's always been very good at doing that. And he absolutely shines in this film for the things that he says.
Well, when you think about the context of when this movie came out, 1971, I mean, it was kind of still going off 2 years since the tumultuous 60s, with the civil rights era going and the riots happening, and the Vietnam War going on as well with protests and a lot of politics going on, important politics going on, and people losing faith in the government, and it's just chaos, and then this movie comes out in that time, and there's like, hey, there's this character who's taking charge and trying to right things that should be corrected.
And Andrew Robinson, who plays
Go ahead.
Andrew Robinson, who plays the Scorpion Killer, even did that. He created a backstory for his character, like he had returned from Nam and he was mad at everyone. And he did put himself into those times because Andrew Robinson is very much a pacifist. He didn't like playing this part at all, but he did it because it was a job. He was an actor, and they picked him because he looked like a regular guy. Eastwood really liked his audition, and so he had to create this backstory to get himself into character. Like he hated using guns. He hated when he had to hold the girl by her throat. He hated having to call the black guy a black bitch and all that. He was really a peaceful guy and didn't like doing any of this stuff. So he created that backstory, like you said, the political climate of the time.
Yeah, and there was like a lot of crime going on as well, high crime rates in all of the cities at this time, and this movie and even Death Wish kind of played into that pulse where Americans were getting frustrated by all the chaos, and these characters are basically modern day cowboys, trying to give a sense of order and common sense in a time of like chaos. That's why these movies were so successful, because Americans at that time were just tired of all of the violence and wars and riots, and it's a very, very eventful time period in our history. So,
right. Yeah,
but that's my 2 bits.
No, I agree, and I think at one point they even wanted to have this movie take place in a different city that had more crime than San Francisco. But then Eastwood and the director both kind of agreed that they wanted it to not take place in a typically crime-ridden city. They wanted to use something
like
different.
New York.
Yeah, I think it might have been New York and LA is where they wanted the movie to take place. And they decided on San Francisco because they wanted to show that, this stuff could happen anywhere, not just in cities that were known for crime. And plus, I think the scenery plays a big part of this movie. Like the opening sequence, man, I can't imagine like watching that on the big screen. Like when he's going up that building and you're afraid of heights and the camera's kind of following him, it's kind of freaky to watch. Even on my TV at home, I'm like he's really high up there, and and so the scenery of the film, and that's one thing I noticed when I was watching this, because I had seen Dirty Harry before, been a while since I watched it. It's like this is an extremely well shot film, cinematography wise. Like the city becomes a part of the film as much as Dirty Harry does. In fact, it was all shot on location except for the bank robbery scene. That's the only scene that was shot on set, and that was because of the stunt work. They decided to have it on a closed set so nobody would get hurt. Another thing is Eastwood. Speaking of stunts, Eastwood did almost all his stunts in this film. He wanted it to have a gritty realism to it. He didn't want to use a stunt actor because he wanted people to, feel that he was really the cop that was on scene. And same with Andrew Robinson. He ended up doing a lot of his own stunts too to add to that realism.
And I know. I guess I'll mention the little tidbit about Arnold. Arnold says that this movie inspired him to seek out wisecracking law enforcement action roles. Mm-hmm. And we talked about some of Clint Eastwood's lines, and if you told me that inspired Arnold, I'd absolutely believe you. But I think Arnold took that, and he's got all kinds of one-liners in here. It's like Clint. I think he's got like the appropriate amount of one-liners. It's not like a Joss Whedon film or anything like that. You've got just a couple, and they're very memorable. Man, I don't know if they touch "I'll Be Back," but they're very good, and they've been used multiple times. Bruce Almighty, The Mask, probably tons of other films, but they're very influential.
Yeah. What's all amazing is the other actor that was almost picked for this was Paul Newman. He was almost in this, and he's the one who suggested that Clint Eastwood do this film. So interesting that some of the stars they went through before we got to Eastwood for this movie. But then it becomes one of those roles that you can't imagine anyone, like out of those actors they picked, I could see Steve McQueen doing this part, but I don't see Sinatra. Even Paul Newman at that time just doesn't have that grittiness to me, that Eastwood or Steve McQueen would have had. It's hard to imagine.
Thought about Marlon Brando, but they never pursued him.
Yeah, he was their first on their list, but like you said, they never pursued him because they felt he was going to cost too much money, which is kind of why they were like, let's find someone cheap. They were basically like, let's find someone cheaper.
That and the terrible ego and a terrible work ethic as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So we're going to do it in one take. You're going to pay me $10 million.
And this movie did, unfortunately, lead to some copycat crimes that happened. One in Australia and one about 10 years after the movie came out in Germany. So there were some issues with that, and so the studio became aware of that, and they I guess they made efforts in sequels to not glorify the violence as much. Because if I remember right, the Deadpool, you watched it recently, isn't it kind of like a little less violent?
It's more a Hollywood killer.
Yeah, it's more like punching and action. Yeah, there's not as much blood in it, from what I understand.
Yeah, the gunfighting's very minimal. Mm-hmm. Magnum Force has a little bit of gun play in it, but it's not much. And you've got a bunch of renegade vigilante cops. So, and then in Sudden Impact, you've got just like violence, random violence. So, I guess I'd have to agree. I feel like compared to today's action films, they don't necessarily have a lot but I feel like they did tone down on the blood.
Yeah.
The bloodiness of the gunfire.
And then
gun violence.
And Magnum Force actually happened because the script idea they had for it was one of the kind of script ideas they had for this one, but they saved elements from it to do the sequel, which I thought was kind of, which isn't uncommon. That happens actually quite often in movies where they come up with ideas and they say, oh, let's save them for the second one. And so Magnum Force was actually grown out of a unused script for Dirty Harry, or unused script idea, I should say. And so I thought that was kind of cool. But overall, though, man, I think that I thought Dirty Harry holds up really well. It's been a while since I've seen it. I have it on Blu-ray, and I bought it a while back, and it gave me a reason to watch the Blu-ray. It's a 2-pack that has Magnum Force on there too, so I need to watch Magnum Force. But I think this movie gives Eastwood some of his best lines. It's extremely well shot. The bad guy comes off very believable because I think Andrew Robinson being a pacifist makes it work. Because as an actor, he did his job to go to that dark place and to make the role believable. And I think a lot of credit goes to him to sell this film, especially up against a strong actor like Clint Eastwood. And Don Siegel's direction of the film is really well done. But even almost 45 years later, it's almost 50 years since this movie came out. It's a really good film that holds up really well, and one of Clint Eastwood's best for sure.
Yeah, it ranks number 41 on the American Film Institute's list of 100 greatest thrillers of all time when they came out with that list in 2000.
Yeah, so I easily give this an A. There's no doubt about that.
I agree. It's an A.
And
A.
Matt, can you quote the famous line without screwing it up?
I know what you're thinking. Did he fire 6 shots or only 5? Well, in all this excitement, I kind of lost track myself. But you got to ask yourself one question. Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
No. Do you feel lucky? It was not. Do I feel lucky?
No,
did he feel lucky, reaching for the gun in time? Oh, do I? Okay. Yeah, I stand corrected.
Yes, because most of the time it becomes misquoted, and people will say, "Well, do you feel lucky, punk?" And so it has been one of the most famously misquoted movie lines in history.
What was the second famous line from the franchise? Matt, can you name it? That even Ronald Reagan quoted.
Is it "You're shit out of luck"? Make my day.
Yep.
Okay,
that one.
I believe that's from Enforcer.
Yeah, because, come on, Ronald Reagan's not going to say shit out of luck in a speech, especially in the 80s.
You're shit out of luck.
He'll say, it's like, right. Like, go ahead, make my day. That's what Ronald Reagan said. So.
I was thinking, is this the first Clint Eastwood movie we've done? No, we did For a Few Dollars More.
For a Few dollars more, yeah.
Unforgiven.
We haven't done Unforgiven yet.
Yeah, we need to do that.
Yeah. And
that could be our first Morgan Freeman movie.
No, we've done 7. We've done Morgan Freeman.
Oh,
don't do Shawshank?
We haven't done Shawshank.
No, we didn't.
Yet. We've got all these movies on the back burner. Like, I have a piece of paper where I wrote down a bunch of movies that we need to do within the next year. Yeah. And Shawshank. That's why I was texting Matt one day about Shawshank. So yeah, they're there. But yeah.
Hey, were either of you guys basketball fans at all during the 90s?
Yeah.
95 I had a Olajuwon jersey.
Did you hear about that? There's the ESPN Netflix collaboration called The Last Dance, and they were interviewing all of the Chicago Bulls.
About the Chicago Bulls and all that.
Yeah, Chicago Bulls versus the Detroit Pistons.
Yeah.
I think the famous final year of the Michael Jordan era of the Chicago Bulls, and it's really interesting. A bunch of insight about Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman. They're all talking about their championship runs and rivalries and little stories on the court, and
the interesting thing about it is that Michael Jordan said that he would not participate in the documentary unless he had the very last word on each story account.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, I've heard about it. I haven't watched it yet, but I've heard about it.
Yeah. Hopefully it comes on Netflix so we could check it out. So I was a pretty big fan of the early to mid '90s basketball era, NBA. So.
Yeah, I've heard some good things about it.
They also talked about the Dream Team, the first Dream Team.
Yeah. Well, I heard about it too because I came across, being a big Pearl Jam fan. I guess Dennis Rodman in one of the episodes mentions about how he almost killed himself if not listening to Pearl Jam that night before a game or something. And so, some of the Pearl Jam things I follow on social media mentioned that episode. So,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, good stuff. I'll have to watch it one day. It'll probably hit Netflix if it's a collaboration. So,
yeah.
Well, let's get to some news. We got a lot of Star Wars news. We're gonna go backwards. So this new Snake Eyes movie is supposed to be coming out later this year. I guess Paramount has now commented that it's going to lead into a new G.I. Joe movie after that. They're going to try to reboot G.I. Joe again.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, hopefully it all comes out better than the Channing Tatum movies. Because those just were not very good.
I like The Rock. With The Rock.
Was that the second one? Yeah. The second one was a little bit better. I do agree with that. The ninja scene on the mountainside, that was all pretty cool in the second one. I give that one credit. The first one's awful. So, I think G.I. Joe's a good property, and I think it could be done in live action pretty well. So we'll see.
I'm all for more Baroness.
I know, you are for sure.
More Baroness.
Yeah.
Demolition Man 2. Stallone has teased in an Instagram story that he is making a sequel. I don't know, man. Stallone feels like he reaches as he gets older to make Rambo sequels and these other things. Like, do we really need a Demolition Man 2?
I've never seen the first one.
You're kidding me. You haven't seen Demolition Man?
Not the first one, no. I've only seen
Austin Powers spoofed Demolition Man.
Did it really?
Yeah, they did the cryo freezing.
Oh, he didn't miss much long. I don't remember Demolition Man being all that. I don't remember Demolition Man being all that.
Mindset, Rat Burgers, Taco Bell is the only restaurant, and now it's a 5-star restaurant in the future.
Oh boy!
I remember it being like cheesy.
Seashells to wipe your ass.
And it's got like a cult status, but I don't remember it being like that great.
Yeah, I remember when I was a teen that movie came out. Man, Matt, growing up in the mid-90s, summer movies sucked. The only good summer movie I remember back then was Jurassic Park and maybe Jurassic Park 2, but there was that time period between Jurassic Park and Jurassic Park 2 where you had like movies like Escape from LA as one of the billed summer movies, and no one remembers that movie today. Yeah,
only the surfing part.
Yeah, Twister was okay but good,
Yeah, Twister.
It was until 97 on up, because 97 had The Matrix and Phantom Menace, right? Or was that 99?
No, that was 99. But no, you're right. I'd even go back a year and say like 96, because you had some big stuff come out that year. Yeah. That sounds about right.
But it wasn't the frequency of quality movies like 2000s and 2010s.
Right.
Yeah, summer movies. It was a drought. There wasn't anything interesting going on.
It would all come out. Yeah, you're right. It would all come out between Memorial Day and July 4th, and after that, there was nothing out. Yeah. You're right. But yeah. So we got some Star Wars news. I always butcher his name, but Taika Waititi is going to direct and co-write.
Oh, you got it! You got it!
Movie. And
you got it correct.
I'm not as I'm going to watch it because it's fucking Star Wars, but I don't hold this guy to some high regard like a lot of millennials seem to do. I thought Thor Ragnarok was okay. I don't like What We Do in the Shadows at all. I thought it's just stupid. Even the TV show's stupid. I haven't seen a whole lot more that he's done.
You haven't even seen the TV show. Shut up.
Yeah, I have. I've watched a couple of episodes. I tried to give it a chance.
You haven't seen all of it. It gets better.
I don't get it. I don't get that kind of humor. It's weird.
You don't get any humor. That's your problem. You don't get Tropic Thunder.
So
you don't get Austin Powers. You don't get Ace Ventura.
Okay.
Well, you do like Nick Gunn. I'll give you that, though. I'll give you that. You do like Nick Gunn. At least we have agreement in that.
I like the couple episodes he directed of The Mandalorian, so I'm going to give him a chance when it comes to Star Wars. I just hope that he doesn't make it slapstick comedy like Thor Ragnarok, because that's just all I ask for. He just needs to make a good Star Wars movie. Just don't make Star Wars. There is a place for comedy in Star Wars. Don't get me wrong. Han delivers some comedic lines, and there's comedy in the sequels, but it needs to be very subtle and used properly. I don't need a Wookiee throwing a ball at the wall and knocking him out like in Thor Ragnarok. Stuff like that just really annoys me.
Hold on. I think Thor Ragnarok saved Thor as a character.
Yeah.
Honestly. Because really the first two Thor movies, it's pretty much, Thor had no character,
Right.
But in Thor Ragnarok, it gave him a lot of personality, a lot of character, and that movie saved that character. So I will have to disagree with you.
Like, I don't hate Thor Ragnarok. I just didn't like some of the stuff in it. That's all. But so we'll see.
It's a Disney movie, so you gotta take that into account too. So
we've got Mandalorian season 2 news. Robert Rodriguez and Peyton Reed are going to direct episodes of the show. Cool. I've always been a big Robert Rodriguez fan, so I'm really looking forward to seeing him playing in the Star Wars playground. But the big news kind of hit today. It kind of broke through Variety and other news outlets that Tamara Morrison is going to come back, who played Jango Fett, of course, in the prequels, which is the clone that Boba Fett is modeled after, and he's going to play Boba Fett. I think this is cool, but I also kind of feel like it would have been better to be a surprise than to tell us early, I think everyone suspected that the feat we saw at the end of episode 5 was possibly Boba Fett. I think this kind of confirms it. What do you guys think about them bringing Boba Fett back and not being a surprise and just bringing him back in general?
Well, it was expected when it was rumored as a movie instead of a TV show, so I'm not really surprised. Basically, I'm whelmed. How's that?
You're
not underwhelmed, not overwhelmed. I'm just whelmed.
Yeah. I mean,
that's like Anakin saying, how can you be on the council and not be a master? How can you make a Mandalorian movie and not have Boba Fett? So this was coming. We've been seeing this coming for a while.
Yeah. So I mean, he's they're in a business to sell the show and to sell toys and stuff. So why would you not bring in your most popular character that wears Mandalorian armor into a show called The Mandalorian? So it makes sense.
It's going to be in the second season.
Second
season, right?
Yeah, season 2.
Okay,
what they're saying.
Okay,
so it should be cool stuff. But yeah, so we'll see. That's all the news I got for today. Unless you guys had anything before we get to our news segment, which I should have teased earlier in the show and I forgot to tease. But yes, we have a new segment. We in the almost 200 episodes of the Rebel Radio podcast, we've done in the past a lot of top 10 lists and things. And I've actually had a couple people tell me we should bring those back. So guess what? We're going to make it a weekly thing. We're going to call it the weekly top 5. And sometimes it might be the weekly top 10, just depending on how we feel. And we're each going to take different turns picking a top 5, or sometimes we'll each do a top 5. So to start out, we're going to do the top 5 movie cops. And so I made a list, and I do have some honorable mentions.
Okay.
I only have 2 of my honorable mention lists, but this was a tough list to make because all 5 plus the 2 honorable mentions could have easily been all over the list. So my honorable mentions are Doyle, Jimmy Doyle from The French Connection, and Bullet. And so you imagine how good this list is if I had to leave those 2 guys out, because arguably 2 very famous movie cops. So I'm going to run my list and we'll discuss it. At number 5, I have Martin Riggs, of course, from Lethal Weapon. At number 4, this might have been a personal pick on this, but I have Inspector Tequila from Hard Boiled. At number 3, RoboCop. I mean, hey, he's a cop. At number 2, I have At number 2, I have Harry Callahan, Dirty Harry. And at number 1, I have John McClane.
Oh, nice.
So,
nice.
That's the top 5 I gave. So, give me your guys' opinions on the top 5 cops that I chose.
I liked them.
That's a good list.
Well, let's break it down a bit because, okay, so you put number 5 as who?
Martin Riggs at number 5 from Lethal Weapon.
Okay, yeah, that's a good one. Lethal Weapon. Really, there's not a bad entry in that movie series at all.
Maybe 2 might be the weakest. 2's the weakest, but even it's good. Yeah, but even it's good.
Yeah, good by movie standards.
Right.
So, and then glad you picked Tequila from Hard Boiled. That's a really good one.
Yeah.
Very gritty character.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Maybe
what was your number 1?
I had number 1 John McClane from the Die Hard.
John McClane, yeah, Die Hard. Hard 1 and 3, and maybe With a Vengeance.
Yeah. Well, 3 is With a Vengeance. Yeah.
No. What was the? Yeah.
I like 2, man, at the airport. I know it gets a lot of flack, but I actually like the movie. Even though there's a lot of plot holes in part 2, I still find the movie really enjoyable. The biggest plot hole in part 2 being that the general coming in, they would have never let him land. They would have shot the damn plane down. But it's all ridiculous, But I take Die Hard 2 for what it is. And then, of course, I had Harry Callahan at number 2. But, man, you could have flip-flopped him with number 1 easily, And then I kind of had some fun putting RoboCop in there just because, he's a famous movie cop.
Yeah. How about you, Matt? What's your top 5?
I've got Alex Cross, Morgan Freeman's cop character from Kiss the Girls.
Okay.
And
I've never seen that movie.
It's good. He plays this this detective that just failed miserably, and someone targets him, and it's really good. It's a very good thriller.
Well, the problem with that though is when you're taking top movie cops, so he played him in that movie, and then what's his name? Tyler Perry played Alex Cross in the movie too. But when people think of cop movies, does anyone ever think of Alex Cross? That's the thing, nobody really does,
Unless you read a lot of books. There's a lot of good Alex Cross books out there.
But he's not more popular than any of the 7 that I put on here. That's the thing.
I didn't know we were comparing characters. I thought we were picking our personal top.
Oh, well, no, I'm just saying. Well, I'm comparing characters, motherfucker.
It's like all of a sudden it's turned into a new. No, I'm joking. Go ahead, Matt. What was your number 4?
I have number 4 as Alex Foley, Beverly Hills Cop.
Axel Foley.
Axel Foley. Sorry.
What? Yeah.
Axel Foley.
Why am I?
Axel Foley?
Did I call him?
You said
Axel
Alex
Foley. Yeah, Axel Foley. I'm sorry. And then I have RoboCop. Mm-hmm. And then I have
number 3.
And then I put John Spartan in there just to be fun.
Demolition Man.
Demolition Man.
Yeah.
And I also have John McClane as number 1. My honorable mention is T-1000.
Does Judge Dredd count?
He's not even a real cop. Okay, your list sucks.
Who?
Alex,
who was
nobody even fucking knows who Alex Cross is.
Oh. You're still on that Alex Cross thing?
Then he mentions the T-1000. He's not even a real cop.
T1. Oh, I see.
As an honorable mention.
Slap him for me. It looks like you're sitting right next. On my screen, it looks like you're sitting.
All right. Good choice, Matt. Glad you threw in a couple of boomerangs.
Don't give him any fucking credit.
There we go. You can always count on me to throw in a couple boomerangs.
He was dressed as a cop. You didn't say it had to be a real cop.
There you go.
What
about Magic Mike when he dressed up as a cop?
Yeah. All right. So I'll go with mine right here. My list. Honorable mention is RoboCop. And then number 5 is Axel Foley. And then my number 4 is actually Jackie Chan's Super Cop.
I had him.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't put him in my honorable mentions, but I did think about him. Yes.
Yeah. So his movies are awesome. Although I did find out that there was a new Project A movie that came out recently? I'm not sure. Didn't hear much about it. Number 3, Harry Callahan. Number 2, John McClane. And number 1, my number 1 cop in any cop movie. The personification of law enforcement, Lieutenant Frank Drebin from Police Squad.
Nice.
I fucking hate you guys sometimes.
He's still a cop. I'm sorry, he didn't say he had to be serious. So
that's right.
It's more of a cop than the T-1000 is, that's for sure.
He's more than the cop than the actual cops we have. No,
yeah.
I didn't mean that.
Knuckleheads. So. Anyway, so that's our new feature, our weekly top 5. I don't know what next week's will be yet, but we'll see. It's not always going to relate to the movie that we did this week, even though this week's did. Sometimes it might be something just for
I know
fun.
what your top 5 list should be in next one. It should be the top 5 white martial artists favorite martial artists.
Oh.
This is since it kind of this you'll be teasing it next week. So
yes, let's go ahead and tease
white
next
martial artists.
Let's go ahead and tease next week's movie. So another actor besides, Dirty Harry's not an actor that we talked about doing a movie for. But the problem is he doesn't have a whole lot of really good movies out there. But he had a run in the 70s and 80s where Chuck Norris was on screen quite a bit in different films and doing some fun stuff. But so we're going to talk a Chuck Norris movie next week. We're going to do the Delta Force.
This is a hijack! Heads down! This is a hand grenade! We will blow the plane! Heads down!
The enemy doesn't care who they hurt. Not how young. How innocent. How helpless.
Go. Collect all passports.
Why?
Do it!
Strangers.
You're making a mistake.
United by the threat of death.
There's only 2 of them! And there's so many of us!
Find the courage
You take one of us, you gotta take us all.
to defy their captors.
I won't do it!
It's a new age of terror that requires a new breed of warrior.
1 minute to showtime.
We're members of Delta Force and we're here to take you home.
America's elite anti-terrorist commandos. Committed to destroy the enemies of freedom. Because the stakes are more than pride.
Sleep tight, sucker.
More than honor.
Move it!
More than justice.
American! I want to negotiate! Do you hear me, American?
Loud and clear.
Because they're fighting to save American lives. The Delta Force, starring Chuck Norris and Lee Marvin. America's new heroes. The Delta Force.
This movie is on Amazon Prime if you want to watch along. It's probably not as good as you remember it being when you were a kid. I remember watching the Delta Force as a kid thinking, this is really cool, but I guess that's before I discovered John Woo films and movies that I knew what real action was, so to speak. But it should be fun to talk about next week on the show, and that's where Long got the top 5 white martial artist joke from. That's doing a Chuck Norris movie is arguably one of the most famous white martial artists ever to live. Anybody thoughts on the Delta Force?
I've only seen the video cover in the video store. That's all I have.
No, you never watched it. You never watched this like on Saturday matinee in the 80s or 90s, Long?
No.
Yeah.
No. I mean, I've seen the commercials
Braddock.
on the TV commercials for it, but I've never watched it.
Well, Braddock is missing in action.
Yeah.
So it should be cool. I watched about the first 20 minutes of it the other night, and I was like, it's just weird because I hadn't really watched a Chuck Norris movie in a while, and he's so young, so it's odd seeing him because every time you see him on TV now, he's 77 years old, so he's much older. So It's like, wow, it's Chuck Norris when he could run and kick ass. So that's the next week's episode as we get ready for episode 200 in just a few weeks, as we're going to talk The Empire Strikes Back for our 200th episode, as we're getting closer. And, yeah.
Did Mark freeze up for you too long?
Yeah, he froze up.
StreamYard.
All the StreamYard froze up.
Yeah, I'm like...
Log is freezing up on...
and yes, and what Mark was trying to say...
Log is freezing up on Zencaster.
Is the Zencaster still working? Okay.
I'll give him and see if it reconnects.
Yes, we are still a go.
Oh, he just dropped out.
You still there, Matt?
Oh, he's coming back. Yeah.
Oh, he's back.
Mark is working his way
That's
back.
okay. I'll edit out that little bit there. It's just a connection issue for a minute. But, so next week on the episodes, we get ready to get closer to episode 200. We're going to talk Delta Force, and we hope you all continue to enjoy the show. Don't forget to go to the rebelradiopodcast.com. You can join our Patreon for just $2 a month to get an exclusive episode. And we will be getting probably... I got to fix the Highlander 2 fuck-up episode. We're going to give you a little something for that. And then we're going to be doing something fun for May for our Patreon episode. And Arnold is going to have a new Arnold Reviews episode out real soon on the Patreon as well. And make sure you follow us on all social media. And you can find all those links at the rebelradiopodcast.com. But as always, we thank you for listening. And we appreciate all your support as we get ready for 200 episodes. It still boggles my mind that we made it that far. I'm going to keep gushing over that over the next couple of weeks. And but yeah. So thank you all for listening. This has been Mark.
This has been Matt.
This is long.
He just says it's long. I was waiting for you to say something crazy. He's just like, this is long. But But thank you all as always for listening. And until next time, remember, just go there and do it.
Go there and do it.